Ukrainian Defense Forces have been destroying Russian air defense systems in Crimea for a long time. Oleg Katkov, military expert and editor-in-chief of Defense Express, spoke about this on Radio NV. This is a very convenient location for knocking out Russian air defense assets. Not just radar stations, but also anti-aircraft missile systems. Even the radar for the unique S-500 was destroyed there. The work is proceeding methodically, and the enemy cannot afford not to defend the military facilities it has on the occupied peninsula, and it is forced to strengthen and replace the losses in its air defense assets, Katkov said. He added that these air defense systems are within easy striking range of the Defense Forces assets, allowing Ukraine to systematically strike targets in Crimea. This also includes the Crimean Bridge. In June, the Security Service of Ukraine carried out its third attack on the Crimean Bridge, a critical supply and transport route for Russian forces to the occupied Ukrainian territories. While the exact cause of damage to the bridge's underwater supports remains unclear, some defense experts speculate that the Toloka drone may have played a role. It's not something that just happened once. It's something that happens every 2 or 3 days. Something gets hit deep behind enemy lines in Crimea. This is precisely the result of this methodical work to take out air defenses. And when they're taken out, the enemy doesn't have time to restore them, and strikes are launched. For example, at the Zelenski airfield, where the Mi-8 was destroyed, when the Bucha M ship is hit by those same drones in the Sea of Azov, when the RT-70 radio telescope in Yevpatoria is knocked out. Katkov explained, "Recall in recent days the Ghosts Special Unit of the Main Intelligence Directorate of Ukraine has carried out a series of precision attacks on military installations in temporarily occupied Crimea. This could be an operation that opens the way to Crimea for Ukraine's new underwater drones," Defense Express reports. On September the 21st, it was reported that 3 Mi-8 helicopters and a 55ZH-6U Nebo-U radar station had been destroyed. On September the 22nd, it became known that another Mi-8 and 2 rare BE-12 anti-submarine aircraft had been shot down. The BE-12 is a Soviet aircraft whose first flight took place in 1960. Despite its age, it is still used by the Russian Black Sea Fleet. No more than 6 of these aircraft remained in service, used for patrolling waters and searching for submarines. Experts note that the BE-12's decommissioning could have several possible explanations: reducing the Russian Federation's capabilities in combating Ukrainian unmanned aerial systems, creating conditions for the operation of the new Ukrainian underwater drones, Toloka, which were recently presented in Lviv, eliminating the threat posed by patrols tracking surface naval drones such as Magura or Sea Baby. Analysts emphasize that the HUR strikes not only inflict significant losses on the Russian Black Sea Fleet, but also pave the way for the active use of Ukrainian naval drones in the Black Sea.
Germany has committed billions to beefing up its military's equipment after years of neglect. Now it is trying to persuade more people to join up and serve. More than 3 years after Russia's full-scale invasion of Ukraine kickstarted efforts to revitalize the Bundeswehr, the challenge of strengthening the German military has grown along with fears of the threat from Moscow. Alongside the higher military spending that Germany and NATO allies agreed on this year, the alliance is encouraging members to increase personnel numbers. Berlin wants to add tens of thousands of service members. Chancellor Friedrich Merz says that because of its size and its economic strength, Germany is the country that must have the strongest conventional army in NATO on the European side. He hasn't defined that goal in detail, but the tone underscores a shift in a country that emerged only gradually from its post-World War II military reticence after reunification in 1990. Earlier this month, the military's top brass watched As a ferry packed with armored vehicles was escorted out of the Baltic port of Rostock, drones were intercepted in the air and on the water and fighter jets circled above. That was part of an exercise focused on moving troops and equipment to Lithuania, an ally on NATO's eastern flank where modern Germany is stationing a brigade abroad on a long-term basis for the first time. Credible deterrence requires operational readiness, said the Bundeswehr's Chief of Staff, General Carsten Brewer. And operational readiness requires material, personnel, training and exercising. There's plenty to do on both material and personnel, in a country where the military was often viewed with indifference or suspicion given the legacy of the Nazi past. Germany suspended conscription for men in 2011 and subsequently struggled to attract large numbers of short-term volunteers. In recent years, the number of military personnel has hovered just above 180,000 compared with 300,000. More than a third conscripts, in 2001. Now the government wants to raise it to 260,000 over the next decade, and says it will also need some 200,000 reservists, more than double the current figure. Better pay is one way to make the Bundeswehr more attractive, said Thomas Wiegold, a defense policy expert who runs the Augen Gerados military blog. But a key issue is fixing the military's long-standing equipment problems, because a force that doesn't have enough tanks, that doesn't have enough ships, that also doesn't have enough barracks, is not particularly attractive for applicants. F-35 fighter jets, Chinook transport helicopters, Leopard 2 tanks, frigates and other hardware are on order after a €100 billion special fund was set up in 2022 to modernize the Bundeswehr, but they will take time to arrive. This year, Merz's new coalition enabled higher spending by loosening strict rules on incurring debt, a big step for a historically debt-averse nation.
Ja, es gibt wirklich viele Gründe, das nicht zu machen, aber dadurch gibt es auch viele Gründe, das doch zu machen. Die Lage wird immer angespannter und wenn diesen Dienst niemand antritt, wer macht das dann? Und da ist die Frage eigentlich ganz schnell geklärt, dass ich diesen Dienst antreten wollte, vor allem als Frau, weil es relativ wenige Frauen bei der Bundeswehr gibt und ich wollte einfach mal meinen Mann stehen, wenn ich das so sagen kann, und einfach mal zeigen, ja, ich als Frau, ich kann das genauso und ich kann euch genauso beschützen wie jeder andere.
Politische Verantwortung in Europa tragen. Ob im Heimatschutz, im Wachbataillon, in der Panzertruppe.
Die deutsche Geschichte spielte eine wesentliche Rolle und natürlich auch zu Zeiten des Kalten Krieges, als die Wehrpflicht noch existierte, gab es mit dem Zivildienst durchaus mehr oder weniger interessante Alternativen. Da muss man gucken, wie sich das in nächster Zeit entwickelt. Eine große Begeisterung zur Bundeswehr zu gehen, die gibt es in der Bundesrepublik Deutschland aus historischen Gründen eben nicht.